What are the top 5 books that you have read that have shaped your life or that have brought you this far?
5 is a lot. But I would, this answer sounds cliche and it sounds like I'm just trying to say the right thing, but I genuinely mean it when I say, for me, the first book is the Bible. The Bible has really shaped my life. And from 2021, I gave myself a challenge to read at least a chapter of something every day. So I've been able to, since last year, keep to that. I've been reading a chapter a day, and it really has grown me as a person. God has really changed me. I used to be very stubborn, guys, and very self-centered. But because of reading God's word, he's really, softened me. He's helped me to be humble. He's helped me to love people more. And so I also encourage you, there's nothing that you can face in life that you don't have the answer to in God's word. So the Bible would be the first one. What other book have I read that has shaped me? Let's see. I recently read a book called What Your Childhood Memories Say About You. And it's by a psychologist who is basically saying what you remember about your childhood says something about your character. And he also talks about how lastborns act a certain way, firstborns act a certain way. So depending on where you are in your family, maybe that's why you act in certain ways. And for me, it was quite accurate to see that it said something like, lastborns always want to be the center of attention. And sadly for myself, that's true. If you give me the mic, I can talk and talk and talk all day. So that's one book that has been interesting, but it's good to know your weaknesses and strengths as a person. So I encourage you as leaders to know your weaknesses and your strengths so that you improve in the places where you are weak and you use your strengths to change the world. Yeah, I can't get to 5 books. I'll stop at those 2 if that's fine.
Thank you very much. Indeed, the Bible is the first book that you can ever read. So the next question, this person is asking, what kept you going when you were being rejected and things were not going your way?
Whew, that's a good question. I think I'm a go-getter. I'm an achiever. And so when I'm not achieving something, I feel useless, if that makes sense. So I always want to be achieving. So when I set a goal, so for example, even when it was my license, I really wanted a driver's license. I didn't want to be a person who drives around without a license. So I remember, trying 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, and it wasn't coming. I would get frustrated. And those who are close to me, my friends, my family, will tell you that inside I'd be crying. Sometimes I'd cry and give up and say, this is not fair, life is not fair. So I have those times where I give up or I cry or I'm a mess. But the fact that I still want that thing makes me get up and try again because I still want the license or I still want to go to Silicon Valley as an example. So just wanting to achieve that thing makes me get up and try again. But also knowing if it's right for me and having a passion for it, because there are some things that we just go for and we just want to say we've achieved that, but it's not really in alignment with who we are as a person or with what we love. So if that's the case, you won't have the drive to go for it. But if it's something you really want and something you're really passionate about, you will really get, the energy to get up and try again.
Yes, definitely you will. Thank you for that. There's another question which says, what does she do for fun?
That's a nice question. I love it. I'm a very social person. I won't say I have a lot of friends, but I've got a group of friends who I always hang out with. So I love hanging out with people, listening to music. I love dancing. I love traveling. So I sometimes travel even within Harare or within Zimbabwe, finding cheap places to go to. I'm also, I am big on affordability. So I always find cheap places that are, near us that I can visit or that I can see. So yeah, travel, music, friends, and food. I love food.
Thank you very much. I also love food.
I know, right? Food is good.
Yeah, what advice would you give to someone who wants to attain a profession, a law profession, and become a dancer at the same time? Like, do you think it will work out?
A law profession and what at the same time, sorry?
And a dancer.
Oh, that's a good question. I would not be placed to give advice on law because I have no experience there. But off the top of my head, I do think it's possible to have a career in law and also be a dancer. On how to go about it, I am not the best person to answer that, but I do think it's possible. For example, myself, I'm a data scientist and I'm also a singer. And I still do that on the side a lot. Even if you look at Janet Manyoa was an accountant. She only recently stopped, but all along, alongside her accounting job, she was releasing music. So she's an accountant and she's a singer. So I think it is possible. The how of it, I might not be the best person to answer that.
But it's possible.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Someone asked this wonderful question.
Oh, that's a good question that challenges me as well. So in the next 10 years, I see myself being a big influencer in the data space in Africa. Data helps us make better decisions, and sometimes Africa lags behind. So for example, there's some statistics that if you Google for America, they're easily available online. But if you try and find them for Zimbabwe, you can't find them. For example, if you try Googling, how many high schools do we have in Zimbabwe? It's not information that's easy to come by. So I see myself kind of moving Africa and Zimbabwe to a place where we now have more data available for us to make decisions, and also bringing in young people into the data space as well. So I see myself being a data leader in the African space.
Thank you very much. We'll be there to see you. Say we know you. How do you manage your work and all the meetings? So someone is asking, how do you manage the work and meetings and all that organizations you have joined?
So what I do is this. Some of my friends sometimes think I'm too serious or I'm too boring. It comes with sacrifice. I'll give you an example. During lunch times at work, lunchtime is like, let's say 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Previously, when I was still new in the workforce, at 1 o'clock, I would take my lunch and go and talk stories with my workmates. And for an hour, we'd just be eating and talking stories. Then one day I decided, but I'm looking for a new job. What if I use my lunchtimes to fix my CV and send applications? So I started using lunchtime to send applications every day at lunchtime, and it changed my life. So that's what I do now. I use my lunch hour for something that develops me personally. And I also use my after work to do, for example, my mentorship sessions. So 8 to 5, I'm at work doing my day job, but at lunchtime, I do something that develops me. And after 5, I do something that develops others. And I give myself a window, let's say from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Then I can rest from 7 p.m. onwards. So using those time slots over a long period of time, you can actually achieve a lot. It may look like an hour here and an hour there, but when you do it consistently, it then allows you to be part of these different organizations, because I split my time after work that way.
Thank you very much. I think this is going to help me as well, because you know how you can take that hour for granted.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's another question. Do you have any particular individuals who inspire you?
Absolutely. I do have individuals who inspire me. Let's see, which ones should I start with? I have a lot. The Masiwas, I'll start there. I obviously work at EcoCash, and you guys are from Higher Life, and I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know how amazing the Masiwas are. I'm also inspired by them as a family, and just how much they inspire others, how much they give of themselves, and most importantly, their faith in Jesus inspires me. Because sometimes as a leader, it's not easy to talk about Jesus. It can be embarrassing, or people can laugh at you and say, this person is over the top with their Jesus things. But with the Masiwas, they are never apologetic. And I love that about them. So they are a family I look up to. Who else do I look up to? There's a data scientist called Abhishek Thakur. I look up to him because he's quite good in the data science field, and I'm always following what he's doing and how he does it. I think Michael Jordan is also a big inspiration because I love basketball, but also just how he grew his career by being disciplined and by working hard. I love his principles as well. So those are some of the people I look up to.
Yes, definitely. I'm sure that everybody is inspired. Everybody who is joining us is inspired by the Masiwas.
Absolutely.
Then what is one thing you wish you would have done that you did not do?
One thing I wish I would have done that I didn't do.
Yes.
I think, let's see. I don't think I have regrets per se, because my hard experiences have made me to be a better person today. So as much as it was painful when I was going through them, I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think God knew what he was doing in my hardships, and it was for the best. So I can't think of something I would have wanted to do differently. Yeah, I can't think of something specific.
Oh, wow, this is great. So there's a follow-up question. There's another question. Is computer network engineering impactful in the technological dimension, and how do you see it in the coming decades?
So I'm not really a guru when it comes to networking. I would advise that person to do a Google search. So for me, when there's something I want to know and I don't know the answer, Google is my friend, guys. Like, I Google everything. So if you were asking me about data science or data analytics, I would definitely answer you. But networking isn't really my area of specialty. So I would be lying if I said I had the answer. But I must say, any tech field these days is just a good field to be in.
Yes, thank you very much. I agree with you. Then someone said, can you take us through in a day of your life? Like, what time do you wake up, and just like your daily routine? How is it like?
That's an interesting question. I'm not always consistent, but usually I wake up at 5. And then I do my devotions, my quiet time. Then I either do a quick workout at home or I go for a run. So I'm also big on fitness. So I either go for a run or do a quick workout. Sometimes I'm not consistent here, but I try and work out or run at least 3 times a week. After that, I then prepare for work. So even though I'm working at home, I still take a bath and I still dress up for work, because I once read somewhere that if you work from bed and in your pajamas, you'll just be feeling relaxed and you might fall asleep and you might not take work seriously. So even when I'm working at home, I actually dress up. Someone once laughed because they came to visit me and I was working from home and I was wearing heels. And they were like, huh, you're wearing heels when you're working from home? I was like, yeah, today I wanted to be serious about my work and I wanted to really focus. So I wore my heels so that I feel like I'm in the work environment. Then when I start my work, I start my day basically by going through emails, and then I dig into my actual work. My work involves using data to create dashboards which managers can look at to make decisions using the data. So throughout the day, I'll be creating those. Sometimes I'll be training people at work on how to use them, or training our interns on how to create them. And sometimes we have a lot of meetings. And then, like I said, lunch hour, I use it for self-development. So I'll either go on LinkedIn and do an online course, or I will Google something that I've been wanting to know about. And then after 5, I often have meetings either with my mentees, or I'm involved in a lot of church activities. So sometimes we have Bible study or some sort of meeting. I also like doing one-on-one catch-ups with people, especially after COVID. I noticed a lot of people can be going through things, your friends can be going through things, and you don't even know because you're so busy focusing on work and on, being successful. So I've been trying to be intentional about having coffee with a friend at least once a week, just to check up, how are you doing? Are you okay? And I found that that's actually really great. People need encouragement out there. So I challenge you to do that as well. It may not be coffee, but maybe just, checking up on your friends via WhatsApp. Because I know of someone who committed suicide and they were such a happy person. No one knew they were sad. So it's very important for us to check up on each other. So that's what my day looks like. Then I usually go to bed, obviously eat supper. I hardly watch TV. I'm not a TV person, but I love music. And then, I usually go to bed around 10-ish. It differs, but roughly that's what a day in my life looks like.
Oh, wow. I'm just inspired. It's so amazing. So there's the last question. I feel so useless, yet I sometimes spend the whole day doing nothing. Where do you get the inspiration?
That is a good question. I think you need to find what is it that excites you, right? Once you find what excites you, you can use that thing to inspire you to do even the things that are not exciting. So for example, if you are a person who, let me think, you love taking walks, as a silly example. Let's say you like taking walks and you have all this homework to do, but you just don't feel like doing it. Use taking walks as a reward to say, okay, I'm going to study for 1 or 2 hours. And after those 2 hours, I'm going to reward myself with a walk. Sometimes I do that because even with me, sometimes I'm not inspired to do the hard things I need to do. But for me, I told you I like food. So I'll reward myself with food. I'll say, let me finish this one task. And when I finish that task, I'm going to buy myself a slice of cake and eat my cake. And doing that then encourages me to get out of my laziness and actually do something productive, because I know there's a reward at the end. So whatever you like, use it as a reward to do the things you don't like. But also just reminding yourself that success is the sum of small efforts repeated. So break up tasks into small little things. If you have a big task, it looks too big and overwhelming. Break it up into small little things and do it bit by bit. Even if you say, let me just do 30 minutes for now, take it that way. That's how I usually inspire myself. Sometimes I'll go online on Google and watch a course on how to be motivated, because sometimes I'm also just demotivated. It happens to the best of us, but just don't let it be a habit where every day, the whole year, you're demotivated. Let it be 1 or 2 days and you pick yourself after that.